The Lancet flew in really close. So close that the driver, he was on the move with the hatch open, looked up and said, "I see it." And that gave him a serious boost of speed. Russian Lancet drone pilots circle the skies 24/7, trying to hunt down the Polish self-propelled Mortar RAK. Its armored brother, the KTO Rosomak, isn't having an easy time either. Here's how one crew member remembers the action. "We've dealt with drones more than once. They caught up with us. They even came after us at our parking location. They're hunting us, always tracking us. They kept chasing and hitting these vehicles. Thank God the crew made it out alive." So, did Polish armor pass the battlefield test against the Russians? We'll hear from the Ukrainian crews who took this gear into brutal assaults and dangerous raids. In Western armies, the Polish RAK competes with two other mortars of a similar class, the tracked CV-90 and KF-41 Lynx. What sets RAK apart is its wheeled chassis, while the other two have never made it to Ukraine's front lines. So here's the obvious question. Are those wheels an advantage or a design flaw? Ukrainians have something to say about that. It's automatic transmission. You switch to drive and go. You're not thinking anymore about how exactly to drive, carefully or not. If they tell you the skies aren't safe, you slam the pedal and get the hell out. Looks like the wheels give it a clear edge in maneuverability and speed. And that's a huge plus when Russian drones are chasing you down. One hit could leave your crew shell-shocked, or worse, seriously wounded. But high-speed driving with a massive gun turret over your head comes with a serious downside. The guys were turning a corner from one side, and because of the turret weight, you can feel that mass above your head, and it affects the turn. The whole thing tilts. Before we go further, give this video a like. That way YouTube's algorithm will recommend it to more viewers who haven't seen it yet. The idea that your own armor might flip over mid-turn? Yeah. Not exactly comforting, but we're pretty sure it all comes down to the driver's skill. Better to be flying down the road at full speed than to lose both the vehicle and your life. And to help the driver navigate confidently, the machine is loaded with modern electronics. It works automatically. The vehicle sees itself on the map. Doesn't matter if it's day, night, morning, or evening. It performs the same. It works at night like a predator in the dark. Altogether, this gives the crew a fighting chance to get out of the red zone before it's too late. Here's how one soldier recalls making it back from a mission when a Russian Lancet almost took them out. You want to hear something wild? Try escaping while a Lancet's screaming after you. The driver's stomping the pedal, and we're in here grabbing onto anything we can find, so we don't get thrown out. But you can't win a war on defense alone. And that's where the 120mm mortar comes in, dropping serious pain on Russian positions. With that chessboard-style fire, it covers the area real nice. It wipes out infantry well, and it punches through buildings where the Russians are hiding, also effective, especially if they've got ammo stashed in there. Inside, the loading process is simple and user-friendly, so every crew member can back each other up when needed. No need to climb around with your hands. You use this wooden rammer to push the round in. Then the automatic system grabs the next round from the cassette on its own. The mines come in all types, and different weights too. The commander inputs the data into the computer. A full combat load becomes a serious argument when it's time to cover your buddies or beat back an assault. And we sure don't envy whoever's on the receiving end of those gifts. 46 total. 26 are stored here. That's the backup rack. And 20 more. That's where the cassette is. But the biggest win when it comes to fire missions? The support electronics. They make the crew's job a whole lot easier. The machine picks the shells on its own. They give us targeting corrections. Adjustments are made, and the vehicle already knows which shell is where. It knows which round is in which compartment and which one it should grab. The KTO Rosomak may carry a much smaller caliber weapon compared to the RAK, but that doesn't stop its crew from lighting up the skies over Russian fortified positions. Here's how the gunner talks about his favorite toy. It's the Bushmaster gun. Fires 200 rounds per minute. It's a great gun. Rapid fire. Fast. From inside the turret, it runs quiet for me. For the guys outside, Not so much. What else? Oh right, this gun has two separate ammo feeds. One shoot here, another one here, so you can switch between them. This gun has a feature that makes it especially good at tearing up enemy positions and gear, and that's its dual feed reload system. Here's how it works from the inside. You can load one shoot with high explosive rounds and the other with armor piercing. Can you fire them mixed? You can. That's the edge. If it's loaded with HE, you don't have to stop and reload after 5 shots. You just flip the selector, and that's it. You've got both types ready to go. In real combat, it's all about firing fast and moving out even faster. Otherwise, you become the next target. This crew set up an ambush on Russian forces and used their 30mm gun to destroy a building the Russians had taken over. It was a quick fight. Actually, not even a fight. More like an ambush. We'd head out, get target coordinates, drive in, and find a spot to work from. We rolled out at night, got the job done, took down the building and the group inside, and got out fast. Quick work. That gun fires 200 rounds per minute. We hit them hard, and the Russians didn't even realize what or where it was coming from. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more powerful videos about military gear and exclusive footage from the Russia-Ukraine frontline. Rapid raids are another type of mission the KTO Rosomak took on in Ukraine. One task was to clear a foothold for infantry to cross, and it wasn't easy. The Russians had no intention of giving up the area without a fight. We mostly worked over long-range targets. We'd just roll up to a point, unload hell, and pull out. In Vovchansk, though, it was closer to Russian positions. The first run took us within 400 meters of them. That's where we cleared the river crossing zone. We chased off their infantry, and our guys made it across and locked in. The crew's second mission was a rescue. A group of Ukrainian soldiers got stuck in a danger zone. The Russians tried to trap them in a building and cut them off from support. But before the situation turned tragic, a Polish Rosomak showed up on the horizon. The second run got us within 150 meters from the Russians. They were holed up in a 2-story building. They dug in there. Our job was to cover the retreat for our guys. We leveled that building too. And our guys, thank God, made it out safe. Another way to catch the Russians off guard: use the Rosomak in tandem with a drone team. While the FPVs tear up enemy vehicles, the Bushmaster cannon handles the infantry. We'd show up and help the guys push back infantry assaults. Infantry, because the Russians were coming in heavy. The FPV drone crews were taking out enemy armor, and we were asked to deal with the foot soldiers. Unfortunately, this tactic works both ways. In war, no vehicle is safe from the sudden visit of a predatory drone. We've dealt with drones more than once. They chased us down. They hit vehicles even while parked. They're hunting us, always on our tail. They'd catch up and strike these vehicles. Thank God, the crew made it out alive. To avoid playing Tom and Jerry with Russian FPVs, the crew has to count every minute. The faster they complete the mission and get out of the red zone, the better their odds of survival. You need to hit the enemy fast. The less time the vehicle spends in the firing position, and the more effective and accurate the fire, the higher its survivability. What helps them buy those precious seconds? Rosomak's internal electronics, which boost combat dynamics and dramatically improve accuracy. One of its biggest strengths is the electronic system that automatically measures distance. It auto-aims, and within 2 or 3 seconds, boom, first shot lands right on target. Move in silently, unleash hell, and vanish into the fog. That's exactly how the Polish Rosomak hunts. During combat missions, targeting took us 2 minutes tops. In about a minute and a half, we'd unload 120 rounds, and then immediately pull back. The name Rosomak, Polish for Wolverine, fits perfectly. A real beast turned into a steel monster, waiting in ambush for the right moment to strike. The vehicle's fast, quiet. I'll tell you, it really lives up to its name. We arrived, fired, and pulled out. Ukrainian forces also use the armored vehicle for logistics, supporting engineers who build crossings over rivers. And on the way back, it handles evacuation.
Помагали нашим саперам, вивозили на ній понтон.
We went out to help our sappers, transported pontoons on it. The guys were building pontoon bridges at night. And we also did evacuations, pulled out our wounded. On paper, Rosomak is fully amphibious. It can cross water obstacles under its own power, no problem. But in reality, well, opinions differ between the Ukrainian and Polish troops.
Різних бортах цього БТРа це функція амфібія.
These two propellers on either side of the APC, that's its amphibious feature. This APC can cross water obstacles. Here's the water line. That's how deep it sinks. Top speed on water? About 10 kilometers per hour. Some troops praise its armored capsule, not just for protection, but for space. And for its swimming skills too.
Екіпажа для десанта.
For the crew, for the infantry riding in the back, it's a solid capsule. The protection's really good. People feel safe inside. The main advantage of this vehicle is its maneuverability and the fact that it can swim. Here's how it looks in action during a water entry.
Вона погружається, вона пливе добре.
It dips in and floats just fine. The front doesn't go under. There's a nose flap that raises up, and additional fins are installed. It basically turns into a boat. But it's not all smooth sailing. Polish instructors advised Ukrainian soldiers to avoid swimming unless absolutely necessary. If you end up needing to float on it, that's game over. Like the Poles said, better not to swim on it. In swampy terrain though, Polish armor performs better. Even if it slows down, it still gets the job done. You're not going to go more than 20 kilometers per hour with deflated tires. Only on swamp terrain. The wheels deflate in pairs. 2 at a time, then 2 more, diagonally. Want to see how other gear performs in water? Click the link in the top right corner. There's a full video on Ukraine's amphibious BTR-4 Bucephalus. But for now, let's head back to the KTO Rosomak, specifically its oddly designed rear doors. So awkward, Ukrainian troops needed separate training just to open them. Not ideal in a hot combat unload situation. We started from scratch. Spent a couple days just learning to open these doors. It's not as easy as it looks. You've got to grab these latches, open them, hook them onto these little mounts. It's not exactly straightforward. Still, the vehicle's drawbacks are offset by big advantages. Compared to old Soviet gear, Rosomak feels like a Cadillac.
Все. А радянська техніка.
It's got everything. That's Soviet stuff. There's nothing in there. You're always guessing. Flip the wrong switch. Didn't press hard enough. But not here. Here, you just start it and go. The onboard computer does the thinking for you. As experience shows, good tech plus a skilled crew equals clockwork. And to be fair, this isn't the first war where Polish equipment earned its stripes. 100 KTO Rosomaks, upgraded with extra steel composite armor, saw combat in Afghanistan. 2 even survived direct hits from Taliban RPGs, but not without loss. In 2009, 1 Polish soldier was killed when an IED detonated directly above the exposed gunner's hatch. Still, the war in Ukraine became the real proving ground, both for the KTO Rosomak and the M120K RAK mortar. Unlike in Afghanistan, where the enemy had old junk, here they're fighting a far better equipped and much more dangerous foe. Now you not only have to worry about ambushes with anti-tank missiles, you've got to be alert for constant threats from above.
Наскільки дошкуляють вам?
Як дошкуляють? Вони зараз тут.
How bad is it? You've seen it. This war, it's all about drones now. They're everywhere. They're hitting everyone, and they're hitting us. If they're in the sky, we don't move, because they'll strike, unless the Russians are clumsy and miss. Sometimes the drones just drop nearby and don't hit. This soldier got lucky. The Russian drone missed and left his steel beast standing, but next time it might be different. For now, one thing's clear. Polish vehicles have proven themselves, thanks to their balance of price, quality, and quantity. Want to see more Polish gear in our next videos? Like the Piorun man pads, the Grot assault rifle, or maybe even the PT-91 Twardy tank? Vote in the comments or drop your own pick.